They did it again, folks. The Kansas City Chiefs pulled off highway robbery thanks to this guy right here, Brett Veach. Welcome into this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. We're going to focus on the offensive line situation, in particular with Josh Simmons, the Chiefs' first-round pick. We'll tell you everything you need to know about what Brett Veach has done as of late coming up here on today's show. Before we do that, folks, we continue our sub-battle for the month of May as we are taking on Bill's Breakdown to see who can pick up the most subscribers this month. A rematch of the AFC Championship game, and you can see it's pretty tight. Bill's Breakdown with a slight lead with 2,279 new subscribers. Chiefs Report just slightly behind at 2,269. For daily Kansas City Chiefs news and rumors, sometimes 2 and 3 videos a day, along with our live shows on Tuesdays, breaking news, Q&A mailbags, and more. You got to be subscribed to the channel. Doesn't cost you a thing. Absolutely 100% free. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV to subscribe now, and we'll get started with today's show. Brett Veach, the guy, he is a magician, folks, and we have seen quite an incredible offseason of what he has been able to pull off with the franchise tag on Trey Smith, re-signing Nick Bolton to a long-term deal, and then the offensive line situation. It has been, I would say, at the left tackle spot, one of the few weaknesses of Brett Veach with the decision-making that he's made over the years, really since Eric Fisher left town. But now that we've seen the details after Josh Simmons signed his rookie deal, on top of everything else that played out, it's looking really good of what Brett Veach was able to accomplish. Let's take a closer look at Simmons' contract, his rookie deal. Simmons is on a 4-year contract with a value of about $14.88 million. That's about an average of $3.66 million a year. And he also got a signing bonus of $7.31 million. And with being a first-round pick at the 32nd overall selection, when the time comes, he'll be eligible for a fifth-year option. What those numbers look like, still TBD on that. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But although we knew that all of that is slotted, a deal is done, you may be wondering, okay, why is this a win for the Chiefs right now? Well, it's a win right now because of the long term. A massive financial win for the Kansas City Chiefs when thinking about the future and the role that Josh Simmons could play. Let's kind of put this into perspective for the folks out there by comparison. The Tennessee Titans, they signed Dan Moore from the Pittsburgh Steelers, who was rated last year as the 42nd best offensive tackle in the entire National Football League, according to Pro Football Focus. You know the money that he was able to command? A 4-year, $80 million deal, all right, for one of the worst tackles on the market. So by comparison, Simmons gets 4 years, basically $15 million, while Dan Moore is sitting here getting 4 years and $80 million. Now, I feel pretty confident in saying that Josh Simmons is going to be a better offensive tackle than Dan Moore was, which was somebody they, in theory, could have signed if they wanted to in the free agent market. And not only is he in a very extreme likelihood going to be better than Dan Moore, he's also $65 million cheaper. Okay? Now, let's draw another comparison for you. Who the Chiefs did sign. Jalen Moore, they brought over from the San Francisco 49ers. I thought that they did a pretty good job with his contract, honestly, with a 2-year, $30 million deal, especially if Moore plays very well, then you're going to make your money back just fine. But he got a 2-year, $30 million deal with $21 million guaranteed, and he only started 5 games last season. And what we heard from Chief sources this past week was they feel much higher on Simmons than they do Moore, and if Simmons is healthy, he has the edge to be the starting left tackle, although you could still play Jalen Moore potentially at the guard spot, and they both be in the starting lineup. So this is a bargain. If you really believe that Josh Simmons is who we think he is, then not only did you find a potential quality starter to protect Patrick Mahomes' blind side, but you did so at a much discounted rate compared to what the market was showing for that position. How would you grade the draft pick of Josh Simmons now that we know what we know now? It's our pinned comment today. Weigh in, tell us what you think. A, B, C, D, or F. You might get an ad break while the ads play. Get your votes in and let us know. I'll give you my grade coming up on the other side. My grade, I go A+. What do we talk about with Josh Simmons in the pre-draft process? That if it weren't for the injury concerns, he in all likelihood could be the best offensive lineman in this entire draft. And here's the bottom line. Even if he isn't a superstar, all right, if he is the best left tackle in football, if this is how it all turns out to be, that would be great, believe me. But even if he's just, let's say, a good starting left tackle, then there isn't much risk here with the lack of money he's getting compared to what you would have done if you would have spent on guys like Dan Moore or others on the market, and especially if you would have spent top dollar for the tackles that were out there in free agency, or if you were to make a trade and have to pay somebody a long-term extension of sorts. Simmons, let's tell you more about him, the first-round pick out of Ohio State, where he played the last 2 seasons. Before that, he was at San Diego State. And despite the time he missed this year, he was still a third-team All-Big Ten selection as the Buckeyes went on to win the national title in 2024. And there's been 2 concerns about Simmons that people have pointed to. One is the injury concern, and the other is some character issues. There was a report from ESPN within the last couple of weeks that Simmons slid in the draft not because of injury, but because of some questionable character marks. But based on what the track record says of how good Brett Veach and Andy Reid are with these situations and how they evaluate and look at players, I'm willing to bet that Brett Veach and Andy Reid are right on this one, because they're right a whole lot more than they're wrong. And so I have every reason to give them the benefit of the doubt here that Simmons is going to be just fine, that he is healthy. We've heard Andy say that they think he's going to be back in time for training camp, and that they don't think that the character issues are going to be a concern for this team. Simmons, last season in 300 snaps, had a solid overall grade of 74.04. Pass block grade was really good, 82.0. Run block grade could use some work, 68.7. Did not allow a single sack. Did get called for 1 penalty last season. His scouting report, he is a loose and fluid mover. He's got excellent quickness that he displays. Very good play strength for that position, what you're looking for. He also shows off that inside strike ability to punch. Early on in his career, he did have some careless penalties, but he did a much better job of cleaning that up there in his final season with the Buckeyes. Do you believe in Josh Simmons? Are you all in on what Simmons could potentially do for your Kansas City Chiefs? Type Y for yes, in for no. Tell me what you think. Be honest with me if you believe in Simmons or not. Speaking of Josh Simmons, we have his jerseys on sale now at chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys. You will get the jersey with his proper number on it. We also have the other Chiefs rookies available at that same link. Go see for yourself now, chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys. Father's Day coming up just around the corner, my friends. I want to make sure you're covered with one of these fantastic jerseys. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. That's chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys to get yours today. Not only do we have Simmons, we also have some of your other favorite Chiefs like Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, and among others. Go check it out now, chatsports.com/Chiefs jerseys. Now, I think in a perfect world, ideally, Josh Simmons starts week 1 at the left tackle position. But because you are not paying him a big sum of money, let's just say that if there is a setback or if he needs more time to recover, that's okay too, in all honesty. I think that you are in a position now, comparably speaking, to what you were at a year ago, where you have some strength in numbers to work with here. Jawan Taylor is still around for now, although most believe this will be his last season. Kingsley moving to the guard spot his second year. You would hope that he takes a dramatic step up. Mike Caliendo did a really good job stepping into the left guard spot really up until the Super Bowl last year, and then Jalen Moore into the fold. I'm pretty bullish on this offensive line. I think they are in much better shape than what they were in 2024 when Patrick Mahomes got sacked more in a single season than he's had his entire career. I feel pretty good about saying that I don't see that happening again in 2025, that they are covered and that they have multiple options to work with here. And with that depth that we showed you a moment ago, we mentioned the injuries, whether it's if Simmons takes longer to recover or if, God forbid, something happens to one of those guys we talked about, whether it's Moore or Kingsley or Jawan Taylor, you got other options to work with that you didn't have in the past, and I think that's a good spot to be in if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, which one would you rather start at left tackle week one for the Chiefs, Josh Simmons or Jalen Moore? Type JS for Josh Simmons. Type JM for Jalen Moore. I already told you earlier, I like the direction of going with the rookie with Josh Simmons if he's fully ready to go. Way in the comments section. Tell us what you think. JS for Josh Simmons, JM for Jalen Moore. For continuing Chiefs coverage, the best way to do so is just simply subscribing to the channel. YouTube.com/Chiefs TV for the latest happenings in your favorite team all off season long. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.